All right. Does this mean we are live already? I think it might. Still figuring out this whole YouTube thing. So that's fun. Yeah. So looks like we're live. Welcome to Hashtag Coffee on Fridays. We're still figuring this thing out. Greg, I can't hear you at all.
Am I? You got me
there
now?
We go. Now I can hear you. Perfect. Okay.
So, I didn't realize this was the new. That was the new link. I apologize. I was waiting for the new link. And
just don't ever effing let it happen again. Just kidding.
Wow.
Okay. I am literally kidding.
You're 300 miles away, or I'd kick your ass. I would.
And deservedly. Okay, so just got the video URL. I'm gonna go throw that over on So Local.
Yeah. I guess I should open up a YouTube page here to watch the thing. There we are. I didn't realize this was. Oh, hey, I got the wrong speakers on. Yeah, okay. I'm really ready for showtime this morning.
Well, actually, you kind of are. Like, we did like our little preamble, like, "Hey, what's going on? What's happening with you?" And you're like, "Oh, I don't know anything." And then you were like, "This thing, and then that thing, and then this thing, other thing, and then."
Well, I just know that they're things. Like, I'm not really clear on what the things do. But they're things.
Riveting analysis.
I got that going for me.
This is why people come to here.
Yes.
The riveting analysis of whatever.
There are things.
I just posted on actually I'm just posting on Chirp right now. Let's do that.
That's a thing.
I am really liking this new platform that Kurt built. It's really, really interesting, dude. I'm looking forward to you getting on it. And I know you said you were going to do it yesterday. It's almost like you're fucking busy or something.
Well, my internet went away yesterday for several hours. So it's back today. And I'm not promising to do anything useful with it. I don't know. I'm in a weird place right now. Yeah. So good morning. Nice to be with you. You have to be somewhere. So this morning, old man moment. I slept in a bit this morning, and my phone goes ding, and I pick it up and I look at the screen, and it's a message from Corey. You know how like when you can't actually read something, sometimes you're trying to contextualize it by looking at the order the letters are in. Like, I know that says "Good morning. Have you had coffee yet?" or something like that. I'm looking at this message like, I can make no sense of this at all. And what it says is TikTok duets. And I was like, it took me a full 30 seconds to go, what the shit?
What the hell is this? Yeah.
So TikTok duets. It's just like you have you have Tourette's. TikTok duets, cocksucker, whatever. Kind of blurting stuff out on my Facebook messaging feed this morning. It was kind of funny. So thank you for
anytime.
Brain teasing quiz.
It is why I'm here.
Of consciousness this morning.
Yeah. So I am committed. I'm going to make some clips of this. I've been kind of working on TikTok all morning. Like basically my through line right now, like because I'm doing this big, huge sort of social media push to test some stuff out. I'll make like a little TikTok video, which automatically posts to Instagram, and then that actually pushes it to So Local. So if you're on So Local on Facebook, you're going to see that stuff pop out. But then it actually gives me the actual file automatically. Like you don't have to download it. It just keeps it on your computer or on your phone. And so you upload that to YouTube, and then I'm putting that on Chirp as a secret unlisted video, like all the TikToks that I make today. And then I post that Chirp thing on Facebook and Twitter because I'm dead serious. I want more people on.
So Chirp basically pays you for post likes?
Yeah. So it costs right now 0.03 links to post, right? So don't forget that part. And like one links costs like, I don't know, I think it's like 25 cents right now. So it's like a penny basically to post. Okay. And then 3 likes and you're in the money. So it's 0.01 links per like.
So it's like Twitter, except there's an exchange of value for posts.
That's right. That's right. And it's brand new, right? So we're testing out, like the economics are totally different today than they were yesterday. As an example, they lowered the price from 0.1 to 0.03. So they literally like dropped it down by 30% of the right, just so you can basically post three times as much for the same cost. But I'm talking to Kurt and Fred. That Kurt built the Chirp platform, and Fred is the guy who his team built the Links chain, which is like a version of EOS that I'm trying to move everything onto right now with Shipple and all that stuff.
Right.
But they're talking about making like a monthly support for people that are producing stuff. Like we're doing the SoLocal.live thing, right? Like obviously, like we keep asking for donations for people to support the show. It's really, really important. Like honestly, we're doing this right now for zero money, but we actually have our cost cover, which is fantastic. So thank you to everyone that has donated already. But in conversation with us, they're talking about like, I want a private group. Like I want to be able to get our community for anybody who wants specialized content, kind of like Patreon in there. But I think, and I suggested this to them today because they're talking about doing different likes, right? Like, so right now, if you go and hit the like button on a post of mine in Chirp, and you have your links count and all that kind of stuff, right? So it'll give 0.01 likes. So like 100 likes will give you 1 links token.
Okay.
Right. But we're suggesting to them that they do like, love, and like I messaged Kurt this morning and said like, I want like, love, and like, holy shit, this is awesome. Right. But then also like support this creator monthly, all for every post. Right. So like the one would be 0.01, one would be 0.05, maybe one would be like 1 links token, which again is 25 cents. It's not a big deal, though. Right. That's and then
it's value for your content.
Right. And then a monthly support so that you can like, man, I really want to, for example, like Sue is posting memes there now. Bullshitbles is posting memes. Like, would I put like 0.1 links to them monthly, just period? Right. I think I would. Right. And so it's cool being there because we're sort of, as content providers, we can provide them with basically, we just tell Kurt what we want and we might get it, which is really fun. Pretty cool. So anyway, that's I'm obsessed with that right now.
Very cool. Okay, so I'm looking at the YouTube page right now. Good morning, Jonna. Nice to see you. Good morning, Deb Marcotte.
Good morning.
This is the thing. It shows that people are watching. It shows us that 8 people are watching right now.
Yes,
but it doesn't say who they are. So we would like for you to post a good morning or something in the comments so we know who's here. And if if your username is some obscure, vague thing that we don't know and you're comfortable being publicly outed, let us know so we can say, oh, that's Virginia Rupert or whoever you are, because it's a little different than the Facebook interface in that way. We don't know who's here and who's not. So frankly, we can't talk about somebody with a weird username if we don't know if they're here.
Hey, I was actually going to invite Seth from the Dividend Report into to say hello to us this morning.
Okay,
he's a fellow Yang-ganger. I just threw this up and
hi, Sue. And I don't know who Duck Cafe is. I'm not sure who that is. Hello, Duck Cafe. Nice to see you in our comments. Thanks for watching. Troy Bryan from Duck Cafe.
Oh, all right, awesome. What?
Hey, Troy,
what?
Welcome.
Hey, is that an EOS emblem? What is that?
we're going to be obsessed with people's tiny icons on our.
I know, because I'm so fascinated with it. Yeah. So, anybody who is in the cryptocurrency space or EOS space, I am going to be doing the odd, cryptocurrency type interview. I got Kurt lined up from Chirp. I'll probably be talking to Fred from Links and stuff like that. I'd love to meet more people in the space. So if you're doing something in the space with EOS or cryptocurrency or whatever, message me, let me know, because I'd love to just throw a chat up.
Nice.
Although I've been shit talking EOS something fierce over the last little while.
Well, it's kind of broken right now, right?
It really is. It really is. Now, and we should remember that the underlying like the design of the blockchain is called EOS.io, right? Which is part of what they built and got so much funding for initially. And that's what Links is, right? They just copied that and then tweaked it and changed a few things, and that's sort of what we're.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, what we're working on now.
Yeah, Troy tells us it's a DAC for coffee shops. It's a DAC.
Oh, shit. Okay, I absolutely need to talk to you about that. That's because really cool. I need to understand. I need to understand DAX way better. Could you just for our audience, because I totally remember what DAX stands for. I definitely remember that. So it's not me, but for our audience, could you Could you please tell us what DAC stands for?
That's the most eloquent. I'm a dummy.
Thanks.
I'm
thanks.
a dummy line.
Because honestly, like I should know this so hard, but I am totally blanking on it right now. I'm having a senior moment.
Yes. That space has been taken up by the recipe for polished diorite. I haven't told anyone this. The dividend report. Good morning. I haven't told anybody this, but the reason I'm so poor is because I put my life savings in IOTA.
Yes. All right, I'm gonna DM you. I'm gonna DM you the link on the link to show up with us. We need all the help we can get. Listen to me. I fucking have no idea.
Clearly,
I love turtles.
We don't know our DAC from our IOTA this morning.
Well said. That's going to be my new ringtone.
I don't know what either of those things are, so I can't Corey
IOTA.
These things to me.
IOTA is a cryptocurrency and a pretty good one.
Well, that's that's always a good strategy. Put all of your eggs in one crypto basket. That's
right.
A decentralized autonomous company. Duh. That's what DAC stands for.
Yeah, I knew that.
How do I know that? You didn't know that.
For some reason, I thought it was. For some reason, I thought the C was different. Yeah. So I would really love to chat about what that means, what you're doing. I'll find you some local coffee shop in Miami to roll in or something.
They don't have those there, do they?
Not enough.
Have you done what I suggested you do yet and get yourself down to?
I sincerely doubt that I have. No, I haven't.
I
seriously dude. I'm in our little tiny apartment, which I get my own office. It's pretty cool. Yeah. And then you've seen it. I walked to the beach in the morning, and this morning was. They're all good. This morning was really good.
Dave Myers. The reason I'm so poor is because I've engaged in a society based on a skewed game of capitalism with no functional head start. Yes.
Like you do.
Good morning, Jareen. Good morning. Nice to see all of you. And we were saying at the top, if you're watching, please comment because we don't know who's here until you do.
Right.
Unlike Facebook, which shows us so has joined the thread. We don't know that.
Okay. Thank you, DeCafe. Thank you. And you actually put your Troy. The C can be community or company. That's what threw me off because I thought it was community or something like it. That's why I was nice. Wondering about it. But I like that anyway. And of course, DAO is decentralized autonomous organization. So and again, like I'm gonna screw this up and organization, right?
You got it. Yep.
Yeah. Troy's, and I've been talking to the Crown people, which are basically, they created a token on EOS, and they're I think building a framework of frameworks to create situations where you can do this. But like, imagine a corporation where everyone just does what they want to do, but within work.
I worked there. They fired me.
Well, think about this. So like everybody has potential tasks, potential responsibilities, potential pay, all that like everything that makes a corporation, but just like not shoot all the managers, but digitize everything that they do into an actual set of rules and then tell them, hey, you guys can go, retire now or do something else that's less annoying than bossing people around. But basically, like, long story short, it's just this thing that where the organizational functions of a community or a company or a corporation or whatever basically just get digitized as a bunch of rule sets that you can plug yourself into. I hope I got like even remotely that right, and I doubt I did, which is why I want to learn way more about that because
it sounded good. It sounded completely convincing and knowledgeable. Like
fucking A.
That was one of my dad's specialties. My dad could lie about something, and you would go, "Oh yeah," like animal names, like animal behaviors. Which you tend to think that I do that, but my dad was the master.
Is that real? Dave just said breaking news: Trump impeachment legal team has Dershowitz and Ken Starr. I can't even. That can't be real. That'll
be fun.
I don't want that to be real. Can we vote on that?
Yeah, no. Corey. Ideally, every American deserves the very best legal counsel available to them. I'm just sad that they think it's Alan Dershowitz and Ken Starr.
Yeah, right. I mean, when Ken Starr was listening to the Ivanovich testimony on Fox News, his first response was, "Oh, he's fucked."
Yeah, and frankly, that's the guy you want as your defense counsel, right? The guy that knows how grave the situation is going to.
I guess that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, Greg. Okay.
It was a little surprising, but he's in it again. This is the thing. Attorneys represent their clients. Period. Full stop. Regardless of party affiliation. So,
yeah.
I know we don't like
Man,
that when it's not our attorney, but when it's our attorney, we definitely want that guy.
It's on the AP. So
AP,
I guess it's
yep.
I guess it's real.
Hey, here's the thing. You know that thing that happens when you bring up impeachment? Oh, just name me one law that he broke.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Here you go. Yesterday from the General Accounting Office, the GAO, a government agency. Laws were broken in the Ukraine aid story. Laws were broken by the President of the United States. Did that actually post? Oh, it's over. This thing with post length where I can't just. Okay. There I go, trying to be a smart aleck again.
You're such a smart aleck.
Yeah. I'm feeling like a dumb aleck this morning. Yeah, Trump broke the law. There it is.
That's crazy, man.
I know it's shocking to us, but like when you talk to people from, Trump space, and they don't believe that he did anything wrong. Okay, no, still too long.
Oh, you can only do a certain number of you can always
in the post.
You can always use tiny URL. Or send it to me. I'll throw it in the show notes.
Okay, Corey. Okay.
Still figuring out this whole YouTube thing.
Yeah, the number of characters thing is.
Yeah, that's weird for a comment. They should consider being cooler.
Like us.
Yeah, because we know everything.
Yeah. Isn't it according to a watchdog agency? Yes, the General Accounting Office. Department of the Government of the United States of America.
Yeah, every presidential admin is usually lives in terror of them because they can fuck you up.
Yeah, no, this is a government agency. The GAO is the government's accounting firm. Essentially.
Yeah, it would be. There hasn't been an actual.
It's not like Policy Watch or Tax Watch or one of those organizations. Right. This is a government department.
It's literally a government department that is there to. Well, I mean, they're the fucking General Accounting Office, right? Like, it's actually part of the government itself, and they've got receipts, and they broke the law. This is all, to my mind, anyway. That's new, and of course, it drops the day that they walk the impeachment stuff over to the Senate. Can you talk about Kamala Harris a little bit, because that's on my list?
Kamala Harris managed to accomplish an amazing thing, and I'm going to pull up the tweet and see if this one links without some sort of giant problem. Kamala Harris managed to get the Senate Republicans to agree to put off any further judicial appointments by the president or approval of them by the Senate until the impeachment is over. Kamala Harris, a Democratic senator and former presidential candidate, and Dave Meyer's future ex-wife, managed to get Senate Republicans to agree to hold off on judicial appointments approvals until after the impeachment. That's a massively huge thing,
right? But way to breathe the lead. Like I kind of felt like Kamala and Dave would make it.
I'd only say I have a friend that used to refer to Madonna as his future ex-wife, and I always thought that was kind of charming and funny.
For those of you who don't know,
disappoint her so hard is what he used to say.
Dave Myers is a good friend of ours who has dug Kamala Harris for a long time. I don't know if it started during the Kavanaugh hearings, but it wouldn't surprise me, because
that's when it started for you, for sure. Her cross-examination of Kavanaugh was like,
yeah.
I never thought I never thought I was a sub in any dom sub relationship.
It was moist.
Yeah.
Anyway.
There you go. Don Van Meter, probably accurate. Senate Republicans are liars and will break this agreement as they see fit.
I mean, if she gets McConnell to sign off on it, like the rest of the Republicans, it doesn't matter, right? Whatever they want to do has to pass through McConnell. So, and now, can McConnell change his mind just to start fucking with Democrats anytime he wants to? Of course he can, and he will, because that's exactly what he's like. He's just a man of integrity, Greg. Yeah. Just like that Lindsey Graham, who for sure didn't know what was going on. Wasn't Parnas saying that he was actually getting read in real time to everything that was going on.
Yeah, fantasies involving strong law enforcement women aren't that common.
Uncommon.
Yeah.
I had not thought about it that way.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Val Demings was the Orlando police chief. before she was a congressperson, member of Congress.
Yeah. Donna said I'm starting to believe all GOP are liars. I mean, also, like, until proven otherwise, it's safe to assume, right?
But one of the things I want to be careful of, and this is, for me, and maybe it applies to others, I don't know, but the other team is saying all Democrats are liars. At the same time, we're saying this.
Yeah, listen,
right, but it's easy to say that, like all Puerto Rican women argue loudly. It's a generalization that doesn't necessarily apply.
Except that they're all covering for a liar by lying all the fucking time, Greg. Right? Every day. Every one of them that says Trump and uses a word in a sentence is lying.
Huh.
Like, with all, like, again, the stereotypes exist for a reason, right? And the whole, like, for you to flip the both sideserism, they're all calling us liars. It's because they're fucking assholes. It's not because of some, linguistic differential.
How does that make our argument better?
Because they are actually lying.
A particular senator may be lying, and it's perfectly cool to point that out.
If you're sitting at a table with 11 Nazis, you're a liar.
You're a Nazi. That's a different analogy.
Follow me. I was skipping a couple steps for effect.
Okay.
I mean, I get what you're saying, and I probably should be more contemplative around that.
It's an argument that has no value in proving the point. What proves the point is we point out individual lies.
Okay. I'll take your word for it.
It's easy to say that, and anyone can say that about any group of people.
Yeah.
All Asians are bad drivers.
Yeah. Seth said, remind me to talk about this when I come on. Absolutely. Also, get your ass in here. Honestly, I just want to listen to you talk to Greg, because both you guys have, like,
what?
Wait till you hear Seth talk. Like, you guys should have a radio show reading the fucking phone book.
Oh, just he's got the voice.
Oh my god! Like,
I don't know that. People tell me all the time that I have the voice, but I don't hear it in myself. And I've listened up thousands of hours of myself recorded.
Yeah,
and I don't.
Rio says that I have a radio voice.
You absolutely do.
He's wrong. That's just not true.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Okay, well, then it'll be the three of us, and everyone's just gonna. Oh, you're brewing coffee.
Good morning.
Especially for a show called #Coffee.
I mean, it's an essential part of.
You're good. Up. You're good.
It's Mickey or Minnie Mouse in your cup.
So what?
I mean, Minnie Mouse mug.
Yeah, but you said Mickey or Minnie Mouse in your cup. I'm like, damn, what kind of fucking coffee is that?
Folgers in your cup. It's a play on a very famous advertising slogan that you may have missed when you were living in a bus in the Arctic. It's entirely possible.
You're pretty funny. Okay, fair enough.
A Fred Eater, perhaps the evidence will be so overwhelming that McConnell will finally have to allow witnesses in order to preserve his Senate majority. I hope so.
I mean, that's the best possible case, right? I mean, that's the thing. Like, and they have to know. And it's, of course, I learned this from listening to Nicole Wallace, again, who used to be a Republican, and now it's like, nah, they're all liars.
The only broadcast journalist to ever call the administration chicken shit on live television, earning my undying respect.
Yeah.
Please
and
continue.
I mean, again, and not she's fucking hot. Anyway, and just for that, never mind that she's actually just like objectively hot as well. That just, I don't know. Her rage just makes me feel better about the fact that I'm not crazy. Anyway, so yeah, she was basically saying that the best thing that we can possibly hope for is that, McConnell realizes that he's going to have to get Bolton. He's going to have to get all these other people, because Bolton's book is going to come out, and it will write every single advertisement against his Senate majority that will show up in every single one of the states. Right. So like that, if that strategy can be held. Now, I also heard he wants to literally hold all of the hearings behind closed doors.
Yeah, that's the rule, and the people are working to change that. It's been decided.
You know why? Okay, so you know why he wants to do that? So that every one of the Republicans can come out and fucking lie about it.
Right.
Well, those
individuals that are motivated to lie, certainly.
Fucking dissembling. Okay, so like most.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm fine. Everything's fine. So doing the sunrise thing this morning, the Stoic quote, because I've been reading like that. I got my hands on like the Daily Stoic, and so we're reading one of those a day. And it's basically like, the only thing that you can really control is, in your own mind and how you react to things and whatever. And the Stoics are all kind of looking towards reason, judgment, and all that kind of stuff. And if you're feeling any sense of suffering or emotional turmoil, like, you have to look inward. You can't look outward. I'm like, yeah, but I covered Trump though. And like my next thought is like, okay, I really do have to figure out, if there are any ways, and I'm sure there are, if you're smarter than me, to sort of dial that back or jujitsu that so that I can maybe last a lot longer as a happy warrior as opposed to somebody who wants to just fucking pull his hair out.
Well, okay, so I have a helpful hint for that.
Go on.
Not that I don't get angry and I don't react in anger and speak in anger sometimes, but there are primary colors and secondary colors, right? There are 3 primary colors: yellow, blue, and red.
And confirm.
And you get all other colors by mixing those colors, with some weird exceptions that the artists in the room will probably,
$5. We're talking about Minecraft in less than 30 seconds.
No, we're not. We're absolutely
kidding. It was a joke.
Okay. But you can breed different colored sheep in Minecraft.
There it is.
All right. So anger then is a secondary emotion.
Okay.
There's a mixture of other emotions under it.
I see what you're saying.
Anytime you're angry,
when
the turning inward part, the useful thing to do is say, what happened first? In other words, if someone pulls out in the dark with no headlights of a side street and almost hits my car, right? The second thing I do is flip them the bird and honk my horn and yell at them. The first thing I am is scared that I'm going to be hurt, injured. Okay. If I smash my thumb with a hammer, the first thing I am is in pain. The second thing I am is swearing and angry.
Right.
See what I mean? So anytime I'm having an angry feeling, what I need to understand about it is what's under it. Am I scared? Am I threatened? Am I hurt? Am I, what's the primary emotion under it? And that helps me sort out what my reaction is and how I can fix it. Not that it's not okay to be angry. It's absolutely okay to be angry, but understanding why you're angry helps you avoid situations that make you that angry moving forward.
Okay.
Right. So, what's happening with me and with the current president is, I'm fucking angry all the time. But what's under it is I'm scared of losing my Social Security disability. I'm scared for my friends that are living below the poverty line. I'm frightened for my trans and gay friends. I'm frightened for my immigrant friends. Right. So what's driving me to anger is my fear that I have no control over what's going to happen to people that I love and care about. Yep. There you go. Dave Myers. Actually, cyan and yellow are the new primary colors. Just saying.
Art nerd for the win. So Deborah Marcotte, for everyone out there, you should know that my mom watches this show, and she is infallible. Right. Anyway, she said, I have a feeling Chuck Todd is on his way out. Hope so. So who would replace Chuck Todd again?
Nicole Wallace.
Yeah, more Nicole Wallace.
I really love that idea.
It's just good. It's not like she doesn't have another hour worth of stuff to
thanks
talk
for the
about.
comments, by the way, you guys. Fred Eater. So do we believe Parnas? He has lots of reasons to lie, but what he said has the ring of truth. It has the ring of truth because there's underlying corroborative evidence to a lot of
That's the only reason why, right?
Yep. Right. Last night, there was one of the things that broke was corroborative of what other people said. Like something as simple as the thing that he often overheard Trump shouting into the phone to whoever he was with, whether that was Rudy or he told an amazing story last night about John Dowd and the current White House counsel. That was pretty astonishing. But he overheard a lot of what Trump said. Well, that goes back to what we heard during the impeachment testimony in the House, that the guy in the restaurant in Ukraine heard everything Donald Trump said because he was screaming into the phone.
That's
right. So it's little things like that sort of help us piece together, the other stuff that's happening. Hey, that's so guy looking very dapper this morning. With his,
it's what he does. So just a little rundown.
Peaky Blinders? Are you
Yes.
This is specifically my coffee hat. So.
Holy shit, he does have a voice.
Okay, I'll just let you guys talk. Carry on.
Good morning, Seth. Nice to see you this morning. Wow.
So I see that your name is Corey Cottrell. Do we have two Corey Cottrells?
No. We're using Corey's account because I'm a cheap bastard.
We use the same Zoom.
That's fair. Greg, is that right?
That's correct. I am Greg.
Hey, very nice to meet you, Greg.
You also, Seth. I saw a little bit of your show with Corey and friends the other day. Good stuff, man.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry about that.
What's funny is like I've had this voice since I was your age. And I was on radio at 18 years old. And when I worked at a big band and nostalgia radio station, which played all like Benny Goodman and all the classic greats of big band there. And I would go to live remote broadcasts and do, we want to meet that Greg Whitaker guy. And I would go, I'm him. And they'd go, no, he's older. Having never seen me, they were sure I was a dude in my 40s or 50s playing big band music. So that was
it's funny. I actually used voice as a way to try and act older while I was in school. So I always would try and make my voice deeper, and then at a certain point, it just was that deep.
Yep. I used to have to put on my radio voice to do broadcast stuff. And then eventually,
and you still can every once in a while. Every once in a while, they like pull out the radio voice. And I'm like, oh, what the fuck? It's weird.
Yeah, reading ad copy is a different thing. Yeah.
Anyway,
yes, that's
messed up. So anyway, just for you guys, I want to get this in here. Seth runs a show on YouTube, which is where we all live now, called the Dividend Report. It's primarily about the freedom dividend and Andrew Yang, and it's awesome.
Thank you.
And honestly, like I would love for us to set up I just want you to teach me and Greg the ways of the YouTube, because you're fucking crushing it. It's awesome.
Thank you.
So yeah, Sherry just dropped something in here that I definitely want to try and get corroborated. She said, "Did you see? Did you see the trending on Twitter last night that Parnas worked for Trump's dad for 40 years selling condos?"
That's a shocking revelation.
What?
So I'm starting to feel. Wait. Is that where? No, I heard something about how whose dad employed Epstein. That's what I'm hearing right now. Someone's dad.
Yeah. He was a teacher, and then he got elevated to some CEO level job.
And he was running like an investment bank.
Oh my God!
Connected to Goldman or something like that. I can't remember which one. It might be Goldman, but it was and pointless. Yeah. Right. Like he had no business being there. Nobody knew what kind of investments he was making, or if he was even making any real investments. And it was like tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars in capital flowing through this weird, what is it thing? The Epstein story, like it's crazy shit up in there.
So this might not be. Oh, go ahead.
No, Seth. I'm on his wiki page right now reading. So go right ahead.
It's William Barr's dad is the person.
Yes.
But I gotta say, I don't know if this is appropriate for coffee and something that's supposed to be a little bit more relevant to mental health, but this is going to feel vaguely reminiscent of when I heard about Epstein was when I was going down these deep late night rabbit holes and I was hearing about something called Pizzagate for the first time.
Yes.
And like, that is the first time that I heard about Epstein. All of the other wacky, crazy stuff involved with that aside, I heard about Epstein for the first time because of that. I heard about the Lolita Express and everything, and just the degree of absurdity, the degree of like deep crawlingness, the abysmal darkness that I'm hearing about. Oh my God, William Barr and all of these things. It feels like a repeat. It feels like whatever hand the Internet Research Agency had in Pizzagate and stuff like that, something is happening right now. I can't put my finger on it.
Yeah, there are other things like the Kavanaugh nomination itself, right? That Justice Kennedy may have got, his son works now as a Trump appointee, right? So all of a sudden Kavanaugh's debts were all relieved, and he was nominated for the Supreme Court. Seems kind of fishy to me. So there's some sort of, it's a privilege level. It's a wealth privilege level of operation that most of us will never experience. So like the whole idea that it's being cast as some sort of partisan thing, like it's all Republicans, it's all Democrats. No, there are lines being crossed all the time. And one of the things that's annoying to me is the Clintons were good friends with Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah. So was every other wealthy, privileged political family in America. So
right.
And in our view, frankly, is if Bill Clinton gets connected to Jeffrey Epstein in some criminal fashion,
burn him
under the bus. He goes.
100%.
Well, we're okay with that. We don't play sides that way when it comes to abusing children. That's not.
This is exactly the thing that I was asking to remind me to talk about. I just got a tweet that has getting numbers that I don't normally get. It was a response to Yang talking about how much he loves his wife very, very much, and this is after she talked about an incident that occurred with her and her OBGYN.
Right.
And I replied to that tweet. I didn't actually know the context, but he said he loves his wife very, very much. I made a tweet. I said, oh man, I would love to have a president who loves his wife. And it's just taken off. And I am getting so many MAGA hats in my DMs right now who are like,
wow.
Stop, I'm sympathetic to Yang, but not if you're going to keep on throwing shade like that. And they're like, they're starting to try and say all these things about how this is fake news narrative about, their domestic problems. I'm like, I can show you these gifs of like Melania slapping away Trump's hands and smiling at him and then looking really sad as soon as he turns away. Like, it's clear that they are not in a happy relationship. But no, that doesn't mean that I'm defending the Clintons' relationship or anything. It's the same thing.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. It's the Melania Trump relationship. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out what's going on there at all. And only because Trump is incapable of love, period. Right? That's just the way that is. And the Clintons, I mean, they had a complex, like, power couple relationship that's super messy and honestly could have started just so that they could become president. Who fucking knows? I don't know. Like that,
I remember how angry feminists were at Hillary Clinton when she used the "Stand by your man" line when all that broke. That feminists were angry at Hillary Clinton for standing by Bill Clinton. But you know what? That's their relationship business. And frankly, the rules aren't monogamy. We don't know. It's none of our fucking business, frankly.
Right.
So that. But I wanted to say that about what you're observing. My other job is I'm a counselor, and I work in counseling men who are in trouble for domestic violence with their partners. And so observing men's behavior as it relates to women, particularly their partners, but often all other women, it's been clear to me observing Trump and Melania for as long as they've been together in media, he absolutely has no level of respect or human compassion for her. And I don't know if that transfers to other women as well for him, but we see him in context in his relationship with Melania. It's clear that there's something wrong between them. He doesn't hold doors for her. He doesn't wait for her. He walks ahead of her. He doesn't hold umbrellas for her. There's a lot of signs that he's just incapable of treating her with any level of dignity and respect. And most men who do that don't see it in themselves. Like they're not capable of seeing themselves doing that. That's why, it requires sometimes someone outside of the relationship to say, like, I've overheard conversations between my clients and their partners. And, I don't understand why she's mad at me all the time. Maybe it's because you talk to her like a dick. Right. You do. I heard you do it. I sat right here and listened to how, hey, you need to do this. You need to do that. I heard how you talk to her. And am I capable of doing those things? Yeah, it probably is. I might need someone to point out to me that I'm treating someone disrespectfully. But I see that. I observe the same thing you do. So.
Right. You could say that, sure, infidelity was between, you could throw shade at Clinton, you could throw shade at Trump, but with Clinton, one thing was undoubtable was that he knew his way around women. He knew his way to attract them around him without having to possibly have in a scandal. And so, like, I hear that Trump to have this huge evangelical base. It's like, what exactly are you looking at to guide that? I don't know.
How old are you, Seth? Because I'm amazed. That I'm being ageist now. You seem fairly young.
25, yeah.
That's pretty good. Do you have a pretty good beat on things for
25, man? Seth's fucking awesome.
Where I was.
I try to only bring on guests that are smarter than me. Not that the bar's very high, because it's really not. But fuck. See, there you go. Talk about senile moment. I just had a really fucking good thought. It's gone now. It's fucking gone.
Old age. It'll
No, I really, to bring it back around though, it is really, really clear that Andrew Yang is his wife, and like, just I see. I mean, I'm and Greg can attest to this.
Let's not call it an incident. Let's make sure we say clearly that Andrew Yang's wife talked the other day about her sexual assault. She was sexually assaulted. Let's make sure we say it out loud.
Yeah, it's a thing. No, I see, elements in the same kind of vibe in their relationship as I feel in my own marriage, and I'm fucking obsessed with my wife. So like, it's a thing. It's just nice to see. It is what it is. And Andrew Yang should be president. Just fucking make that happen.
Yeah, right? It's easy to say, like, because I'm sort of a fan and I am a Democrat. It's easy to say, viewing the extraordinarily awesome relationship between Michelle and Barack Obama. But George W. Bush and his wife were amazing, amazingly in love with you. There's no question in my mind that the Bushes were very much in love, and George the Elder and Barbara as well.
Yep.
You know, you can see that they're under
Right.
scrutiny and under a microscope all the time, and what happens in those relationships is visible, right? And so you know, it is what it is. And if somebody doesn't want to see that, I'm with you. I would love to have a president who very much loves his wife.
A good call bringing up the Obamas. I wasn't even thinking about them, but the Obamas were exactly that, right?
Yeah.
Like that. You couldn't. I don't think you could fake that.
Yeah.
So,
and I also like, one of my favorite stories about them is that when David Axelrod, the political strategist, and you know, like he's in the conversation with a lot of Democratic serious contenders for the presidency. Somebody walked into his office during that time period and said, "Hey, did you hear Obama's going to run for president?" And he went, "Who, Michelle?" Like because she is so politically astute that he was sure that if one of them ran for president, it wouldn't be Barry, it would be Michelle.
I would be all right with that.
You know, it's funny. I was just about to say that apparently Nancy Reagan, like Reagan would call her mommy, and it's easy to make fun of that, but honestly, I respect the hell out of that because that's just a huge power play. The woman behind the scenes is
And as he got older, it became evident that she was indeed, you know, taking care of him, and probably had been for many years. So,
yeah, it gets a little bit darker that way. So, you know, David Plouffe was Obama's campaign manager for a really, really long time. He's got a podcast which I did not know about, and it had a certain Andrew Yang on it.
Ooh,
nice.
I've never heard of this guy before.
I'm gonna check. Plouffe? Oh, he was.
Oh yeah.
He was like the technocratic genius behind the Obama campaign in 08 and 12.
Yeah, their social media engagement, the idea that they were building teams on Twitter and other social media. They were the first presidential campaign to do that. David Plouffe, that's his work.
And arguably the reason why Obama's campaign was able to do it. I don't know.
Yeah, they overperformed. What he understood early is that the people under the age of 30 in that moment were not on landline phones, and most of the polling that was going on around the presidential elections in that moment,
all of it
on landline phones. So they were only getting a read on people that were over 30 that had landlines. They weren't reaching people that were under 30. And what Plouffe realized immediately is that if we're polling on just landline phones, we're not going to see an accurate picture.
Honestly, that's what snuck up on Hillary Clinton and why she didn't see him coming.
Yep.
Because it wasn't most of the polling. It was literally all of the polling was on landlines. They because that's not the case now, right? It's still largely the case. So there's still the capacity to kind of overperform a little bit in the younger skewing demographic, but not by anywhere near as much. And honestly, I think it was a mistake that she kept making, which quite frankly is the same kind of dropping the ball kind of moves she was making all throughout 2016.
So what's interesting to me about that is Joe Biden, who is a politician of the same era and ilk, is still polling incredibly high. Do we think that those are overperforming polls, or do we think that I know that campaigns have gotten smarter. Having worked in the 18 cycle for a super PAC, they were all over social media. Like they had people specifically dedicated to campaigns on social media.
I don't know.
Think? Yeah, I guess we'll find out in less than 30 days in the Iowa primary.
Because like Biden was the only candidate. What was it? They were all going at the end of the debates. I forget which one. They were like, go to yang2020.com, go to Kamala, blah blah blah, and then Biden's like, call
like turtles.
Text 300330. Like and no one knew that it was a phone line that he was talking about, because like that's such antiquated tech.
Yes. Send me a telegraph. Send me a telegram, and I'll telegram you. I'll send you a smoke signal in return.
Hey, did you get my fax?
Yeah, Freddie. The reason it matters whether a politician loves his wife is that if he can't love her, how can he love the American people? That's true. I mean, that's a very visible expression of somebody's depth of caring, and it's clear watching them that he don't care.
Yeah.
Donna Van Meter reminds us that he referred to Barron as her child.
Oh wow.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, she has a child that we care about very much, or something like that. But
it's just like his sociopathy is so evident.
Oh yeah,
it leaks out all the time.
Yeah.
And like even with his kid, like look at the way he treats Tiffany.
Who?
Yeah, that deserves a coffee cheers.
Yeah,
hey,
coffee cheers for that one. Oh, coffee cheers.
Right. Clink, clink. There we go.
That's good. That's good. But no, for real, that is a huge thing with me. I remember learning about like the statistics that you're more likely to encounter a sociopath every ladder up the corporate chain you get, because
Oh yeah.
our corporate culture, our profit driven, like it just breeds sociopathy, because that's what you need in order to step on people's necks and claw your way up to the top. And like I think Trump is the ultimate culmination of that. He's the quintessential neck breaking dude, and that's what we all subconsciously or not, it's what we worship. Glenn Howerton, the actor who plays what's his name in It's Always Sunny, who seems to be a little bit, I think he's Yang Gang, I don't know, I'm waiting for an endorsement, but he did a wonderful interview where he brought this up. He's like, this is the entire reason behind It's Always Sunny. You're dealing with 4 sociopaths who are just the cruelest people in the world, but it's the type of people that like regular Americans worship. It's the weirdest thing.
Yeah. That's the observation about corporate culture is, think about it. As you say, you're going to damage the lives of people that work for you the higher you go in that chain. You're make decisions where hundreds of people are going to be financially damaged. To be able to make those decisions and not die from it, or not be, have health problems because of it, requires a level of detachment from the outcome. Yeah, that is generally observable as sociopathy. So
I just popped on Twitter because I saw somebody doing something. So Pam Bondi, the former Florida Attorney General, who now works in the White House, will also be presenting on Trump's behalf per senior mid officials. Rachel Maddow just tweeted out an awesome picture of her and Parnas.
Oh, yeah.
It's the thing, like every one of these motherfuckers in a normal universe would have to recuse. Including McConnell, who literally said out loud, I'm not going to be impartial. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I don't know that guy. Oh, wait. There's Lev Parnas hanging around with Donald Trump right there.
Yeah.
And by the way, if Parnas's attorney who tweeted that.
So I saw on Twitter yesterday, if anyone, I think it was actually Tom Vietor. He said, if you say at all that you don't know Parnas, wait 10 minutes and a picture of you and Parnas will show up on the internet from Parnas's lawyer.
There are hundreds. There are pictures of the entire command structure of the Republican Party, of the presidential administration. It's all there. So,
listen to this.
Yes.
Because, and this is especially going out to Yang Gang, but everybody else in the Democratic Party too. This is from Mr. Sociopath himself. They are rigging the election again against Bernie Sanders. Just like last time, only even more obviously, they are bringing him out of so important Iowa in order that as a senator, he sit through impeachment hoax trial. Crazy Nancy thereby gives the strong edge to sleepy Joe Biden, and Bernie is shut out again. Very unfair, and that's the way the Democrats play the game. Anyway, it's a lot of fun to watch.
What?
Yep. Don't impeach me. It would be a shame if something were to happen to your election. And he's going directly at Bernie Sanders because Bernie bros will fucking freak out.
By the way, the whole thing between Bernie and Elizabeth Warren the other day, you know when that started trending on Twitter, Corey? About 4 a.m. Eastern time. Think about that let that sink in for a minute. It started trending on Twitter as a thing.
Yeah.
About 4 a.m. Eastern time.
Oh, I get
normal
it.
business hours at 4 a.m. Eastern time in America.
I get it.
The Russians, that's who.
I'm picking up what you're laying down. And that's the thing. Insane. Any division, they're going to pump this up. I mean, honestly, he probably got that idea from a fucking Russian troll.
Yeah, I'm sure of it.
Because he's been retweeting accounts that have like one follower, and one post, and this would be the post, and he retweets it. It's really messed up.
Yes.
After this, the Warren Bernie exchange and everything, it is so clear that like there are forces going on here. I mean, and like that's where whatever tactics Trump did in 2016, that's where it's like desperately needed. I've had a lot of debate about this with people on Twitter, but that's where this is needed this time around. You need someone who's able to like take anything and just shed it, like, bounce it off of his skin. Trump would say stuff like the craziest stuff where nothing would affect him. You need an outsider and someone who is able to just really get a cult personality.
Everybody's got baggage, right? Everybody's got baggage. They did. So Bernie Sanders is still one of the most popular senators in the country. That's just real, right? Elizabeth Warren, as it turns out, is in the top 10 least favorable senators in the country, and mostly just because people make shit up about it or whatever. But like but that's a thing that's real, right? So Bernie's got baggage. Bernie's got baggage from the last election. They can drive wedges into that. Biden is fucking Biden. I know I say this on the show all the time, but he's genuinely fucking awful at this and will continue to be no matter what. And honestly, like, could very well end up being called in by McConnell to testify. Baggage. I in my bones feel like there's this super weird conflagration of events where Yang just keeps going the same speed but drives right up the middle. And what's Trump going to do then? Because you know who Trump supporters really love? Fucking Andrew Yang.
Yep, you're right.
Right? And like then we just win and we get the world that that kids deserve, for fuck's sake. Anyway.
If you were a writer and you're going for a good story, a good book, a nice climax, that's what you would write.
Right?
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
And then literally
writing the Big Short style movie of this entire thing.
Right.
All this chaos and craziness and weirdness. And about every 10 minutes, you would clip to maybe 12 seconds of Andrew Yang being very calm and reading a book or drinking.
Right. And at the end, you get the fucking the Star Wars celebration moment where they fucking pass the freedom dividend like magic in the first month or some crazy shit. Which, for the record, will not happen, but it's a really good idea.
Hey, it might. You don't know.
I heard there's an Obi-Wan series in the works now.
Yeah, I like it.
The Star Wars world.
I'm not surprised that you just pivoted to Star Wars, because I also had to say that I didn't know this. I think it was Dave Myers actually that told me. Dave Myers, you're a fucking mensch. Anyway, the in the end scene of A New Hope, when they're all getting medals, fucking the Wookiee doesn't get one.
Chewie doesn't get a medal. I had never noticed that before.
So second time I went with Greg and Laugh Track to go see Star Wars the next time. And when it came around, I'm tearing up right now. I'm so pathetic. When they gave the medal, because I didn't know what it was. When they gave the medal to Chewbacca, I was like, fucking about time, god damn it.
I also like the fan theory that Han Solo is Chewbacca's pet.
What?
Oh.
Yeah, there's a fan theory that Han is like a dog. Wookiees live for hundreds of years.
I mean, that does check out.
Right? Thinks he's in charge. He runs around barking at everybody.
That makes the scene where Han dies and like he just starts going crazy. That makes that scene even better.
Right?
It totally does. That's crazy. All right, good talk.
Yeah, good
all right.
stuff. Hey, we haven't talked any science. Oh, go ahead, Seth.
Oh no, this is really a tangent I don't want to get into. I'd rather you go.
No. Well,
you have to now, because I wanted to say. Yeah. The rules around hashtag coffee, like obviously we talk about politics, but there really aren't any.
We also swear.
Well, that's obvious. He's been on the Moving Forward podcast before he knows what's up. But yeah, we used to do a show called Coffee in the Dock, which is exactly just what it sounded like, where it was literally just completely and totally anything at any time, whatever is interesting and cool going on. And it was only after Trump got elected and after, quite frankly, I took almost a year off, that I came back and wanted to really dive in to politics, because quite frankly, I could have done more in 2015 and 2016 and didn't. Right. So there's a degree of penance. But at the same time, especially on Fridays, too, we're like, hey, we should talk about science and Star Wars and whatever the fuck else we want to talk to, because we've been covering Trump for the rest of the week. So, and even if you come on a Monday, no fucking rules. We want to talk about whatever you want to talk about. That's all I wanted to say.
So I have this weird feeling. I feel the same way. Like, man, I could have done a lot more in 2016. And right now, I don't know. Like, I'm looking at all these people on the ground in Iowa, and I'm like, man, I'm just sitting here making videos. Like, do you feel like this is enough? Like what we're doing, social media activism. This brings me back to talking about Obama and how he was able to use social media as leverage to get the win. But at the same time, I think, armchair politics, we like to think that we're doing a little bit more than we actually are. I don't know. I shouldn't be thinking about all these things.
If you're feeling that way, it's probably true. Right? Where do you live? Or what state?
Oh man, this is Tennessee.
So if you don't want to say, if you want to say, that's fine.
I'm in the South. Yeah.
Okay.
Here in Tennessee.
So Oh, okay. So there are local organizations that are begging for volunteers to go knock on doors and talk to voters. And I'm an experienced canvasser. It's what I spent the 2018 cycle doing, was organizing for Our Future, which was Tom Steyer's super PAC that was funded for progressive issues, not necessarily specific candidates until after the primaries. But essentially, on Saturday mornings, we meet up somewhere. Everybody has a coffee. You get a clipboard with a list of, a little map of. It's now a phone app that most of the campaigns use. Anyway, you go to the door, you talk to people for 30 seconds, a minute, 5 minutes, half an hour. When Corey went out with me, we had an amazing conversation with an elderly couple. But it's 3 hours of your Saturday, right? Or your Sunday, or whatever day you can get out and do the work on. And campaigns, not just the specific candidate campaigns, but there are party campaigns, there are progressive action groups that are looking for people to go out and do that. And 3 hours of your Saturday, this is what will happen. You will learn a lot more about what people out there in the real world in meat space actually think than you will ever learn from talking to people on the internet. And that's, somebody who has done both things extensively. I agree with you. Like, sometimes I know this is not enough, and that's why I haven't this season so far got out and canvassed for some of the local candidates, right? There are local legislative candidates in your state that could use your support in that way. And I don't know any of the ground races in Tennessee, but we have a state legislature that this week introduced 3 anti-LGBTQ pieces of legislation. And we have great candidates running for our state legislature that live within 5 miles of me. Danny Antonino and AJ Arestia are both running to replace our really incompetent state legislator, our state house representative here in this part of Florida. And getting out and knocking doors, though, it's a great way to learn something about the people that are actually doing the voting. So I highly recommend that anybody, not just you, anybody get out and knock doors for candidates. It's a great thing.
I'm gonna have to leave my house. God,
I know. Well, you can make phone calls too, right? There's phone banking to be done. Like last season, I and my volunteer teams knocked 40,000 doors in my county, and we made in excess of 60,000 phone calls, right? In my county. That's just in my county. So there's a lot to be done. It doesn't mean leaving the house necessarily. Although the response rate when you're talking to people in person is better than when you're talking to them on the phone, because you sound like everybody else that wants to sell them an air conditioning maintenance contract.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So
and the worst thing is I've worked in call centers, and the one thing I would always get after my greeting was, "Want to speak to a human, please?" Because my voice apparently sounds too much like a robot. So
a fucking sexy robot.
I had a bit of an ace in the hole here locally, is that I did some TV commercials for a really popular dining establishment that were all over cable all the time. So I often got recognized when I got to the door, and they thought I was there to talk to them about Gill Dog.
That's funny.
They didn't chase me off their property immediately because they recognized me.
Oh,
that happened quite a bit during the season. So
that was
interesting. All right.
Yeah.
Gotta like that.
I'm this much local famous, just this much. So
really, that's all you need, though. I mean, that's more than 99.9%.
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna do this.
What are you doing? What's happening? What's going on?
Well, I know of I got an email from a candidate who was like, "Oh, we're gonna be doing this meet and greet thing on the 28th," and I was like, I should go and sit down with this candidate and be like, "Listen, you want my vote? I need to understand what your thoughts are on UBI specifically." But then I was like, "Nah, I won't do it.
Do it.
I'm gonna
do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
you're gonna end up
get video of you chatting with them and say, "Listen, like I'm a YouTube personality."
Yeah. I got the millennial vote behind me.
And it's like you got how many just how, like, and this is something, because you've got how many views have you gotten in the last 6 months?
Oh Lord,
a metric fuck ton is 70, the technical 80, term.
Yeah,
right. That's he's like, hey, I just still pretty new. Got about 80,000. Like we've been doing. I think we got like 130,000 on So Local in like a year and a half. So you are crushing, right? Tell them that and say, hey, listen, can we sit down for like a 5 to 15 minute interview? They're gonna say yes, or they're stupid as freaking rocks.
You're right.
Yeah, I've had 0 local candidates say no to an interview.
Right.
They want the media time. And frankly, sometimes I couch this, look, you haven't run before, so consider this like media boot camp, right? You can take notes from this interview and learn how to do it better next time, if nothing else. So be a crash test dummy.
Be a crash test dummy. Yeah.
There's several local candidates that we love and admire who did their first ever interviews on either Coffee on the Dock or So Local.
Well, and I think most of them did it on So Local, and I even remember. Remember, like some of those first interviews were what's the word? Not good.
Yeah. Yeah. I only had one where I had to actually ask the candidate, "Do you want me to lose this interview? I'll take it down." It was that bad. But everybody else, they all learn. Like by the second time, they're all straightening their clothes and sitting up straight. They're making sure their belly isn't in the shot. Like people get better the more times they get interviewed for any kind of media. So, yeah.
All right.
So Seth, you want to talk a little bit about your show for
Yeah, what's that been like?
Minutes, whatever.
Yeah, I probably started with like a Twitter account because I was seeing all of this meme energy behind Yang, and I've been looking at universal basic income for a long time, and I just wanted to get in on that. And this was around the time that I was like getting ready to leave the workforce because I was so just completely like literally pulling my hair out, which was like I shouldn't be pulling my hair out and working, like especially since my job was delivery and transportation. I was like, if I'm not happy doing this, I'm gonna leave. And suddenly this was the second thing that I had tried to do. My first thing was a podcast because I'm really into virtual reality and VR, and I tried doing that for a long time, and it was super difficult for me to really kind of get off the ground because just putting a podcast out there without having a Twitter that had more than 100 followers or anything, it wasn't working. So I actually have about 4 episodes of that. That's Building the Oasis. If any of y'all are really into virtual reality and everything, I put a lot of work into that about 2 years ago. And so I'm like, well, let me just try this again because there seems to be some energy behind Andrew Yang. And what started off as a meme account led to enough people saying, hey, man, I really love what you have to say. You've got some crazy ideas. And I was like, all right, here we go. I'm going to make a YouTube channel. And about a year later now, I've been able to actually pay an entire month's rent off of both the crowd support of my Patreon and advertisement revenue, and one specific person who is supporting like my content, who really likes the stuff I do in the microtransaction community. You would call them a whale, I suppose, someone who really like supports the entire thing. So like my idea is that I would love to be able to be a person that can point to universal basic income and say, this is the transformational benefits of what having your basic needs can do, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Because when I was in the workforce, my life was just awful, terrible. Like my relationships were suffering, suicidal ideation, mental like panic attacks. Really, like I'm like, why am I doing this? I hate this. I have so many other interests. I seem to be some kind of outlier, though. The dignity of work, fulfillment, all of these things are really things that I try and chew on, and things that I want discussed a lot more in our society. Because I think there's a book called Bullshit Jobs by David Graeber, where he talks about this psychological scar that's across the entire population of our country, because we don't ever confront the nature and reality of our work and the ways in which we think that it's fulfillment, but 9 times out of 10 you're sitting there trying to look busy in an office space when you're really just browsing through Reddit and everything. So I think a large part of our mental health crisis is actually our inability to confront the inadequacies of work. And I think that we can use technology in the real abundance that we have but don't acknowledge. If we can kind of confront that in some way, we can really get people to ask, hey, why are we doing things this way? Why has it always been this way? Or has it always been this way, which it hasn't? And how can we actually move forward from there? So like really my channel is less of a political one and more of a philosophical one, I suppose. My cat's trying to get me off here. Yeah. So like that's a long way just to kind of say that I'm trying to do whatever I can to live my own life with a little bit less anxiety, a little bit less frustration, struggling, suffering, trying to get myself a little bit more enlightened and hopefully share that enlightenment with other people.
That's a beautiful thing, man. I'm excited to hear about this. I have the same feeling about the dignity of work issue. Like people that don't want to forgive student debt, we paid off our college loans. Oh, so because you had it bad, do you think everybody else should? Like, why can't we just do things better from now moving forward? right? You know, and there's
Right.
a lot of places where our behavioral psychology plays into that. The whole, you know, the idea that, well, I was spanked and I turned out okay. You know, well, you're in a room with me in a battery intervention class, so clearly you didn't. You know, like
Right.
I can often find a place where somebody thinks that because they went through some negative thing, everybody else should be okay with it as well. And that sounds kind of like what you're approaching.
Yeah, it's like when I was a kid, I had to go to school up in the snow, uphill both ways, right? And it's like they're saying that as if, man, you're not struggling enough now. Well, isn't that the point of society? Isn't that the point of civilization, is to make progress and have your children lead a better life than you went through?
Yeah.
But what's more troubling is that, like, you know, this is the first generation that has worse outcomes than the generation before it in terms of their financial status, in terms of their, you know, we take less vacations. We've got some shiny phones and everything, but when it comes down to the meat and potatoes of what it means to be human, what it means to be fulfilled, what it means to have community, and what it just means to exist in the world that we do, all of these things are just, they're gone from us. And I think you can really see it if you just look around. So you know, like, especially now that I could see that the number one job in America, truck driving, transportation, 29 states, is very potentially going to be disrupted. And when you ask the question of, okay, well, now we have these autonomous functions that are quite literally doing a huge majority of the labor that keeps our society going, we're going to be 2 times, 10 times as wealthier as a society, and yet millions of people are going to have their lives completely turned over and upended. This is how we're able to really kind of get people, regardless of their political ideology, to say, hold on, yeah, wait, this doesn't quite make a lot of sense. Can we change this discussion in some way?
You know, I love this idea that you're onto, that we kind of have to redefine what being successful humans means right now. We have to do it right now. And I know this because I'm 55 this year. I'll be 56 in June. And 3 weeks before my 35th birthday, I had the first of 9 heart attacks. And I made a return to work with the, you know, conditions where the doctor told me these are the things you can and can't do. I went to work, explained the conditions. They said they agree. Yes, that's great. We're just so glad you're back. Within weeks, I was back to working 60, 70 hours a week and over producing. And then I had another heart attack, like immediately within 90 days. And I had to take an extended period off of work, and they fired me. And it was broadcasting, and frankly, they can fire you if they just don't like the color of your hair. You know, they really don't need a reason when you're an on-air person. But I loved that job. I still love broadcasting. I have dreams sometimes about being in that particular radio control booth. I loved it that much. I would have done it for free if they hadn't paid me. But I had become identified with that job to an extent that when I had to take a year or 2 off and start focusing on filing for Social Security disability, which I didn't get for 20 years, I had to kind of redefine who I was as a person. Right? My identity was my job for a long time. You know, people don't ask how are you, they ask what do you do. You know, when you meet somebody for the first time, they often ask what do you do. And I had to make up like a series of jokes, like as little as possible. You know, like I had to make things up to sort of compensate for the fact. But people look at you funny if you say I stay at home and I post stuff on the internet because I'm disabled. When you're 35, people don't want to believe that. Right. And so what I'm seeing is, like, operationally as a society now, there's a whole lot of more people that are going to have to deal with that, not because they got sick, but because their jobs just don't exist anymore, aren't available anymore.
And one statistic that really disturbs me is that men are most likely to die in the 5 years after they retire. So it's like, you know, a lot of people work for the quote unquote golden years, and then all of a sudden, hey, why does this happen? And one interesting thing is that you don't see the same statistic in women. Right. And I believe that it's because men in the traditional, like, you know, the breadwinner path that we have kind of cultivated over the last 100 years, more than that, we do become so deeply ingrained. Our identity is in what we do, that once you've worked 25 plus years doing the same thing, or spending your entire day predominantly focused on the task of quote unquote work, you don't know what to do with yourself after that. And again, you don't know how to engage in society as a whole, you don't know how to express your identity because you don't have that to lean on, to rely on anymore. And I personally have seen that, yes, while I am physically healthier, mentally healthier, and emotionally healthier, I do live with my girlfriend. And now that I'm starting to get like a broader, okay, I can look towards the future a little bit more, I am seeing like, well, what does my girlfriend think about what I'm doing right now? Like when she's talking to people at her work or something and they say, hey, what does your boyfriend do for a living? I can have all of these beliefs about myself, but like I'm going to be making it harder for her and everything. And what happens when we have a party and everything? How do I kind of say, yeah, like here, I'm going to sit you down and talk about how YouTubing is actually work and your judgment of me, like I don't want it. So I have to like really confront and grapple with all these things and explain, yes, like I think being human is so much more than the work that you do. And for me personally, I can find so much meaning in, pop culture, critiquing it, reading books, expanding my knowledge, going to the gym, working out myself. And I can go home at the end of the day and feel like I had a day well done. But I can understand as well for other people that work and how they're engaging with the society around them, especially if they're extroverted, which I am not. These things are crucially important. And these will be things that are going to be further disrupted as the years continue and tech continues to disrupt people. So we need to have this broader conversation about what having a fulfilling life is and what being human is, because we're going to be dealing with this very quickly if we don't do anything.
Cool. I want to offer some advice to you, not from me, but this was advice I needed to hear when I started the So Local Pasco podcast, which was a local thing about our area specifically. I got deeply entrenched in helping to solve the homelessness problem that we have in our community, and I spent every year homeless coalitions across the country have what's called a point in time count. It's usually held the coldest week of the year, and it's designed to get out and census the homeless to see how bad your local or good your local situation is, to sort of gauge how we're doing on the problem. And one year I participated, and my feeling all day, it's a 24-hour period where we were out drinking coffee and censusing people in the woods, and I ended up hauling supplies back and forth because you want things to give them. You want to be able to give them blankets or raincoats or things. So it helps get people to come talk to you. And I was on an errand to go do some of that with a very good and very wise friend of mine, who will be really mad if I say her name on the show. But essentially, I was feeling really, really guilty about not being out there doing more all the time. And she said, here's the thing, Greg, some people's job is to fill the boxes. Some people's job is to move the boxes from one place to another. Some people's job is to unload the boxes. But there has to be somebody facing away from the work to tell other people why the work is important, and that's your job. And I so needed to hear that. I still need to hear that. So when you talk about, maybe this is, is this really a job? Is like, am I doing enough? I always feel like I'm not doing enough because there's a lot wrong. When the house is on fire, running around with a thimble full of water feels inadequate, right? But what we are doing is we're giving space to other people who are going to go and do some work, right? Who are going to be motivated by what you and I say and what Corey says to go out and do something better, something more. And I'm constantly confronted by people in my local community that say, I only got involved in going to the Wednesday night free meal at the Methodist Church because you talked about it on your show. I only got involved because you talked about the importance of advocating for local homeless people, and that is what I do now. And so I just want to say that what you're doing has value. And Corey and I, we ask ourselves that about this show all the time, and frankly, we consider ourselves like an anti-gaslighting shelter. No, it's true. The president has lied 15,000 times plus, documented lies. The president lies all the time. And, it's true. We want to make sure that you understand that you're being gaslit. Sometimes somebody says, oh, it's not as bad as you say it is. No, it absolutely is that bad. And it's okay to say so. So I really, I appreciate what you do. Now I want to watch the Dividend Report all the time.
Hey, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
It's good shit. Do you guys want to hear a tweet from Monica Lewinsky on the day they announced Ken
Sure.
Starr?
Yeah.
This happened a few minutes ago. And the only reason I know about this is because of Stone Kettle. You should follow him on Twitter if you're not. He's fucking amazing. This is definitely are you fucking kidding me kind of day.
Yeah.
Yes,
it's a
it absolutely
world.
is. Now, I was just thinking as you were mentioning your homeless outreach, one of the things with my universal basic income advocacy that I do kind of struggle with is that, okay, I'm not homeless. For last year, I certainly thought that, hey, within 2 years, I could definitely be homeless because I am rejecting the workforce straight up. But for me, like basic income, it's going to solve all my problems except for healthcare, which I am soon going to have to. I mean, I don't, like I don't.
You're
have
25, right? You're getting close to that age, yeah.
I don't even have the money to pay for copays. Right? So it's not like I'm really utilizing the insurance that I've got. That said, I'm happy enough with Yang's plan because it's better than what I have right now. But that aside, there is the question of like, oh, well, what is a universal basic income going to do for the homeless? And I would like to say, like, I mean, no, it's not going to solve addiction, mental health issues like as a one-shot panacea, but I would hope that it would be able to give more credence to the resources that will actually be able to solve those issues. I mean, like right now, the thing that's bringing me a whole bunch of fulfillment is going out to local Dungeons and Dragons groups and hanging out with people. Like that's now brought a whole bunch of meaning and purpose in my life, and I'm like thriving in that. But I can understand how other people, they don't have those kind of like those communities to go to. That's what's really important, I think. I don't know. Have you thought a lot about this issue? And what are your thoughts on that?
Well, here's me inviting myself for a session on your show to talk about exactly this, because like when we started talking about UBI, Corey is way out in front of me on this. I'm kind of a late adapter, but when I started to think about the transformative value of it for homeless people, that was my light bulb moment, because I can see how it would apply. First problem in your, and I don't want to say it's a problem in your thinking, but about a third, maybe 20 to 30% of people who are homeless have addiction or mental health issues. Sometimes the homelessness causes the mental health issues. In other words, you're being repeatedly traumatized just by having to make decisions about whether to eat or whatever, seek shelter today. You may only be able to do one of those two things. So there is some trauma that's induced by homelessness. But the point is that the same percentage of homeless people have addiction and mental health issues as the homed population, right? So there's not any bigger problem with the homeless and mental health than there is with the rest of the general population, except that a certain number of them have addiction or substance abuse issues because they're trying to self-treat their trauma. My friend Bob Gardner with Messengers of Hope locally, he says when people say that, I see those people hanging out homeless drinking all the time. He's like, well, if you lived outside in August during hurricane season in Florida, you'd probably want to drink too. I know I would, right? You'd want some way to anesthetize that kind of trauma and pain. So there's that, right? But when Andrew Yang first mentioned UBI on the debate stage, he put up a little tool on his website where you could go and enter your zip code, and it would show you how much money would pour into your local economy every month from UBI. And it was an astonishingly large number for our local community. It was in the millions and millions of dollars. And when I started to think about every waitress, every tile guy, every homeless person having that money, the difference in what it would be transformative to our local economy, right?
Yep.
So the first problem is that many homeless people don't have a basic form of ID. They no longer have a social security card. They no longer have a permanent address. So one of the things that I would be really excited about was to hear Andrew Yang talk about how do we reach down? How do we reach down and pull those people into the pool to make sure that they're getting the money? And it would absolutely be transformative. And I talk pretty openly about my situation. I am below what the United Way calls the ALA score. That's asset limited, income constrained, employed. 48% of our county, of the adults in our county, live below that line, which means they're one $500 copay disaster away from losing their home, not being able to pay the rent, getting evicted, becoming homeless, or having to live on someone else's couch, or having to cohabitate, which is not always a good thing. It's not pure homelessness, but if you're beholden to someone for your place to live, then whatever they set as rules for you to live there, that continues to generate that feeling of the anxiety that you talk about, right?
Yeah.
So $1,000 a month in the hands of homeless people in my community would get them shelter. Full stop. And that's the most important thing about the homeless. Like, we can worry about substance abuse or mental health issues once we get them home, right? Once they have a place to live, what we find is in housing first models and in low barrier shelter models, once someone is secure and that they're going to have a place tonight, they're going to have a place tomorrow night, they're going to have a place next month, then they begin to seek out help for the problems, the other problems. The primary thing is you can't get effective treatment for trauma if you're continually being re-traumatized. So the most traumatic thing happening to homeless people is the homelessness. And if we get a roof over their heads, we found this in states like Utah that have solved their homeless problem greatly by just sheltering people. Just shelter them permanently. Done. Don't ask, you don't have to stay sober. You don't have to, you don't have to jump through a lot of hoops. You get homed. Finland, same story, solved it. And what they have found is that overwhelmingly the people that are treated in that way, that get the basic dignity and respect of having a home, begin to seek out answers to their other problems, whether that's through AA or going to a treatment center or, seeking mental health professionals. So what we talk about now locally, and I'm involved in some of this, is what are called wraparound services. Basically, you house someone, and 30 days, we tell them you're going to be here for 6 months to a year. So they immediately have a long sigh of relief that they're not going to have to worry about having a roof over their heads for the next 6 months to a year. When in fact there's an adjustment period. Like we have people that once they are home, they sleep on the floor because they can't get used to the idea they're going to have a bed tomorrow. It's heartbreaking, but at the same time, if we fix that basic thing, then all the other stuff begins to heal. Right. So and UBI in my community would be absolutely transformative because our county government, our state government is not doing dick to help homeless people find homes. They're just not. They're spending them. There's a trust fund in Florida that's something like $50 million a year that's supposed to go to homeless services. And it's constantly rated by the state legislature for other budgetary priorities.
Isn't it amazing that UBI just by itself is getting more money than that entire fund?
Yes.
Into your community?
Yeah, and that's just in my zip code. I was astonished at the number when I added up all the western
nuts.
part of my county. It's in the hundreds of millions of dollars a month, and we haven't had anything in our economy like that in decades. We don't have citrus, we don't have farming and agriculture here anymore. We have very little tourism because we're like between Disney World and Busch Gardens on the I-4 corridor. We're not a county that has a lot of tourism. So we need a way to take care of people, and UBI would be absolutely transformative to our homeless community. No
awesome.
question.
I've got so many follow-ups, so I think actually it would be a great idea to get you on my show and have a homeless UBI devoted episode. So yeah, I'll keep your contact in because there are so many other things that I immediately thought of. You
know what, Fred? There are people, Fred's asking in the comments, how do we get the money to the homeless without ID, no address, no bank account? There are people working to solve that very problem right now that for instance, some of the local shelters will allow a homeless person to use them as their permanent address so they can get photo ID. They should just go out and get a job. Okay, I have no social security card, no photo ID. But
you should be able to get your social security number. And without any ID whatsoever, except for that federal ID, you should be good.
Right. You should be.
Right.
But there are other laws in place to protect against hiring illegal immigrants to say you have to have a photo ID to work.
Well, okay, fair enough. Well, and like what I would in that world, I can see us creating a charity whose sole purpose is to make sure that we fund getting people their IDs.
Right.
Because then they get $1,000 a month.
Postal banking. Yeah.
We're talking about the intense ROI of that to end suffering.
A credit union with a special set of rules to help those people adjust to having a bank account and a way to spend their money.
And you can do this now because you've got UBI funding those efforts.
Right. If you added UBI to my Social Security disability income, which is not much, I would be able to spend a lot more time working on issues like that.
100%. 100%. I was only able to do this show for as long as possible because I had saved up enough money when I left the workforce and because I had enough support to fall back on when I ran out. If I had to go back into the workforce, even part-time, my mental, because I've done this is cyclical. This is 7 years on that I have been dealing with just this inability to conform with the basic things. I wasn't able to really embrace this avenue of myself until I was able to take care of my basic needs. So that's huge. That is so huge. We need it.
And we find like when we go out and do things like the pit count or other homeless service exercises, one of the things that always gets me right in the chest is I'm going to get to go home at the end of this rainy, cold, miserable day out here. I'm going to get to go home, and they're not. And I always leave feeling like I haven't done enough. That thing you were talking about. It's 11:26. Greg is crying on the internet. That's a thing.
It happens. It happens so often we timestamp them for fun.
But one of the things that happens when you're out there, the same week I'm talking about, where my good friend gave me that astonishingly good advice about what my role should be in that process. She was cold. It was rainy and cold, and she was shivering. And one of the homeless people we had given a blanket an hour before came back and put a blanket on my friend.
Wow.
People that have the least means tend to be the most generous because they know what it's like not to have.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I begin to think about that transformative. I'm sure we would find that a large percentage of homeless people who are helped in this way would start to help others, right? Most of the people I know who are advocates for the homeless and work to help serve the homeless have been homeless or have been so close to it as to be indistinguishable. I've had that moment where they didn't know how they were going to get when they got their kids from school, where were they going to take them? Right.
Yeah.
So those are the people that are out in the bush. Those are the people that are out knocking, on tent walls and saying, hey, what can we get for you? Do you need anything? And I can see a whole new world of advocacy for poverty around UBI popping up. So I'm glad you came to the show today.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm glad to be here. Thank you guys for inviting me.
He's just rad.
Yeah. It's like 11:30. We did
that's a long one
for us. That's
a long
good.
Show. Yeah. Seth, promise while I have you on the spot right now to come back often.
So what's the frequency of these copies?
We do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Yeah, fucking Friday. Yeah, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 a.m.
All right, yeah, I want to talk to you about cryptocurrency.
Yes.
So okay, we can. I'm actually on this channel, sort of our catch-all channel for literally everything. I just threw up a throwback set to me and Dino playing it, "Burn on Me," by the way, up on the YouTubes. Yeah, I would love to just have a conversation about that because I'm going to be doing some sort of standalone interviews. You have to get on Chirp, dude. You have to get on Chirp.
Chirp.
Yes. Chirp. I'll send you a link afterwards. Chirp is basically a version of Twitter where you get paid for likes. Oh. And I'm in deep with the developers who are, talking to, me as a content provider. By the way, I'm number 2 on their leaderboard as of today. Just saying, whatever. Yeah, it's been there 2 days. Real people are going to show up pretty soon and be much cooler. But yeah, they're talking about doing kind of a cryptocurrency version of linking it to a Patreon kind of thing. Like right now, you go onto one of the posts and you hit the like button and it sends you 0.01 links token, right? It's only ever going to be 21 million of those. That should rhyme with Bitcoin. It's interesting, right? It costs a little bit to post, like 0.03, whatever it is, right? What I suggested to them today, because it's something I would want to do if I saw like a podcast link of yours, for example. I want different versions, right? You can have a like button. You can have a love button, which is maybe, 5x because it's micro pennies, right? It's very tiny. You have like a holy shit, this is fucking awesome, which is like a whole links token, which right now is about 25 cents. And then you could have subscribe monthly, like all in every post as an automatic thing. Like I want to subscribe to this content provider. They're talking about doing that, but they're also talking about doing private rooms. So like the second that they throw that up there, it's going to be like, 5 links tokens, which is like $1.25 or whatever it is, every month, to get into the hashtag coffee private, thing on Chirp where, we're going to have specialized content, kind of like Patreon, but infinitely more adaptable and embedded in something that is as social and powerful as Twitter.
Yeah.
Automatically. Right. So yeah, Chirp, I got a really funny feeling about Chirp, which is why I'm just going to be pimping the fuck out of it for.
Are you saying I need to divest from IOTA and put it in the Chirp?
Well, honestly, like without like, well, let me put it to you this way. I have a hard and fast rule. That's the punchline in my investing, to never have more than 10% of my assets in one token or thing. And about 40% of my assets right now are in links.
All right. Yeah. No, I was joking. I have no assets, but
right. No, I mean, that's even and obviously the way to get it right now is there's still a little friction there. It's kind of complicated. You need an EOS account. You got to buy EOS from Coinbase or wherever you want to buy. There's a few places now. And then through the Lynx wallet, you can buy some Lynx token with EOS. For people that just want to come on and try it out, like I'll give you one just so you can get on there and mess around with it. It's about 100 likes worth. or 25 or 30 posts if you want to do that, which I would highly recommend as well. But I think I'll probably end up selling some too, just because it's easy for me to do all those steps. And then people just get some with PayPal or whatever. But yeah, it's going to be big. I think it's going to be big. So yes, we can absolutely have an entire conversation around that. Since
we just though?
Since we were trying to, but there's so much more to talk about, right? Like Chirp is really interesting.
Corey,
the entire links chain. I mean, that's where Shipple's moving there. Like I have my own cryptocurrency it's going to be moving there. Like there a lot is going to develop right now through this year. And once we get into the 2021, the second half of 2020 when Bitcoin halves, like the market's going to turn up hard. So it's going to get pretty exciting.
Okay, awesome. Before we close, I wanted to explain the show title for those who may not. We were going to talk about this and then we didn't. We called the show today "Flood the Zone with Shit," which is the opposite of what we actually did.
Yeah,
we did
the opposite.
We flooded the zone with good stuff, but flood the zone with shit is actually Steve Bannon's strategy for how Trump controls the media narrative at all times, and that's what we're seeing happen. So all the arguments, like he tweeted today about the Bernie Sanders thing, and this is why. This is exactly what he's doing. He's distracting from what's actually happening, which is he's being impeached by the United States Senate right now. Yeah. Crimes have been committed, according to the Government Accounting Office. Crimes have been committed, and he is being impeached. So don't lose track of that. Don't get gaslit. Don't let them flood your zone with shit. Make sure you flush the shit on a regular basis.
Anytime that I hear Steve Bannon's name, I'm going to bring this up because I think this is just the most interesting thing ever. Do y'all know how Steve Bannon got his start with his flood the shit, quote unquote? He was a pioneer in the World of Warcraft gold farming community.
What? No shit. Yes, really?
He ran a gold farm in World of Warcraft and learned how to manipulate communities by doing so. I'll find a link and send it to you.
You are much better about
straight up blowing my mind.
Here's an analogy for the world today. Corey and I are building a Minecraft world.
Speaking of, Seth needs to join us for that too.
Really join us. One of the first things that happened was our friend Bob Benson came in and he built a little wooden platform with a sign on it that says he was grateful to us for starting the world, and he put a chest in the ground in front of it so people could leave things of gratitude for other players. And so Corey immediately decided this needs a cathedral, and we built this giant shrine around the gratitude shrine. So it's become sort of a gratitude community. It's only like 2 weeks old now, but yesterday, because we had not yet whitelisted the server, somebody came in and carpet bombed with a flying machine and TNT our gratitude shrine.
What?
Yeah. And
a perfect encapsulation of our world today.
Yeah, we're talking like it's loosely based off St. Peter's Cathedral or whatever in Rome. It's big.
It's sort of a basilica,
and it was effectively destroyed.
Yeah,
so we just got to.
The structure was destroyed, but none of the gratitude signs below them.
Yeah, that was the only thing that I was worried about is that original little monument, the wooden monument. I just wanted to make sure that was still okay, and it totally was, which is awesome. I want that to be permanent.
Yeah, we have an intent to actually to host shows from within Minecraft. To actually do the show once in a while with a guest who's in Minecraft, and we play.
Right, that's why we were there. So we should have done that now, which is awesome.
Right, we could do a whole other show.
So I'm gonna show up in VR. Corey, I need you to send me the the server details, and I'm gonna try and do that while I'm here on my computer. I'll do that afterwards. See if I can.
Well, let's meet in there. We'll give you the tour.
Awesome.
Like RFN.
I got to get all my VR stuff out and set up and
fancy.
See if I can get in there.
Fancy.
So fancy, you kids these days.
By the way,
in my day, we just had plain old reality.
Yeah,
right?
No.
So it was in black and white.
I got to let everybody know this. You want to go to I can't remember the freaking name of the thing. Just go to linkswallet.io and start an account. Honestly, everyone go and do that first. Heather Dubiel just got Heather.
Nice.
Like it's brand spanking new. Seth, get Seth for sure, but get the dividend report as well. Or even just dividend or fucking UBI or no one. I don't think anyone has Yang Gang yet, for crying out loud. Like that.
Wow.
You can get 3 per phone number. Actually, Greg, if you go and get Yang Gang right now, I will give you 5 Links tokens.
Wow.
But also I
like
want
a whole $1.25.
I don't know. Yeah.
How can I resist?
God, I mean, I love capitalism.
It is what it is.
It's a thing of value. I must do the thing.
And now, and this is the thing about Links that I really want people to understand. There is a non-zero probability that it could get way more valuable than Bitcoin. So
Okay, settle down.
no,
You're-
dude,
You're
Greg,
a shill.
look at my face. Ask me if I'm kidding.
I know, dude. I'm
Like
fucking with you 'cause
the number of
I'm doing
potential
this just
users.
to see that look on your face.
Okay, fair enough. That's yeah. Okay, I can see that. Yeah, I would do that to you. That checks out.
Totally, you totally would. Totally would. Hey, Casey
All
Marion.
right.
Good morning. Listen, before we go, Casey Marion. I saw a post yesterday on Facebook about your awesome donation to our friends at Hands of the Goddess. Speaking of homeless outreach, which we spent some time talking about today. Thank you so much. And that's that thing, Seth. Casey's one of those people that watched our show and got motivated to start supporting a local homeless charity. And so that's the thing that we did, right? That we are accomplishing something. And sometimes I need to be reminded of that. And I hope that you get constant reminders because it feels really good.
It's huge. Yeah.
You'll cry on the internet. And then everybody will say, hey, he's copying Greg, who cries on the internet all the time.
Heather, I just sent you one Lex token to play with because you actually mentioned it on the show.
Nice. That's how this should work. All right,
Kick-ass.
so let's get on with our day. Let's do some Minecraft things, and I got to get some laundry to the place that does.
All right, so why don't we call it? I'll send you the stuff now, Seth, but we'll maybe plan on meeting together at noon.
Yeah, hey, that works for me.
Awesome. All right.
Thanks for having me on, guys. Y'all have a great day today.
Thank you, man.
Thanks for coming on.
A great unexpected guest today. So thank you very much for coming on. And Sasquatch is real.
Sasquatch is real.
I knew
Also,
it.